Yes. Yeah, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Yes. 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 What's this down here? You are in tune too. Let's line this up. You're in tune too. Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. And we are live. Okay, now you see me. Now you don't. OMG. Waiting for Joyce, Zang Joyce, to get into the ring. You know, I know there's few people. I know there's a few of you here already early. You know, the Rafi don't really like to go live too early, and you get trapped up. You get trapped up in the damn thing, waiting for the damn thing to happen. Having to look over there, looking at the previous destruction of the eye, Zang's destruction. Of Joyce. Nitpick, he says he had to nitpick what he had to do. Had a little sigh of relief there, had a little sigh of relief. What kind of relief? Is there relief? There'll only be relief if he comes out of this thing victorious. But a good sign is that when he was warming up for Salash, Salash was actually in the southpaw stance this time. Remember before the first fight, Salash was warming him up in the orthodox stance. How the hell does that make any sense? How the hell does that make any sense? You tell me. Okay, so they're going to be making the ring walk in a couple of minutes. Switched on too late. Why is you warming him up in the orthodox stance? Ismail Shalash. Okay. Hopefully they know. You know they can't mess up this time. Talking about the weight. Said there was something in his diet that wasn't agreeing with you, but if there was something in your diet that wasn't agreeing with you, would you not cut it out? Would you not cut it out ahead of time? What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on with that? Zang says he's going to target the eye. Physically, he's fitter and stronger. Let's see who we got in the building. Ha. Okay, so what's going on? Who we got up in the building? Let's have a little looky. We got the Cal L. How do you do? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. We're waiting for them to make the ring walk. You know, the Rafi don't like to go too early. If it was up to me, I'd only go live when the when the music start. What's going on? Thomas McGregor up in the building. North of the border. North of the border? Are you north of the border, Thomas? The John D. Lee dogfighting country. How do you do? Smash it. Smash it. What's going on? Yeah, can they ban it? Please. Please, can they ban it? It's like back in the day when you walk into a club, you're late, you say, let's just try one more place. It hasn't been very successful. And you walk in and they play Sweet Caroline, you know you're done up. You know you're done effed up. What's going on there? What's going on there? What's going on there? So we got the Cal L ban Sweet Carolina. Still Sheffield. Still sang it to Sheffield Arena though, says Thomas McGregor. John D. Lee, how do you do?
Good, Raf. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I noticed that Shalash is actually warming Joe Joyce up in the Southpaw stance this time, as opposed to Orthodox last time.
I'm not very confident about Joe's chances, to be honest.
You're not very confident about Joe's chances. Go on, tell me about that.
Mostly the weight.
Yeah.
He looks soft with it as well. I mean, he's a man that can come in at 270 and look pretty lean.
Yeah.
But it just looks like 10 pounds of fat more than he needs.
It could be.
I mean, what was he in at last time? 256 or something?
Yeah.
If he'd have come in at 271, 272, I'll probably have a different stance on it. Because it'd be like, well, that's probably better quality mass.
Yeah.
But my overriding thing with this whole situation is just because you beat up Joseph Parker doesn't make you invincible. I mean, let's be honest about it. Parker's A, past his best, and B, he's an undersized heavyweight in today's landscape. He's not a big puncher. He's never really knocked out anybody of note. After that, what's his best win? Dubai or Bryant Jennings? I mean, Dubai or Bryant Jennings? Not. This is the first time.
People say Brian Jennings beat him.
I know. And I think there's a good argument for that. But on paper, if you look at the caliber of fighter, you could say Bryant Jennings is a better fighter than Dubai. This is the first time he's been in with someone who can hit, who can actually punch, and is actually bigger than him. And his strategy of being a pressure fighter that throws a lot and uses his face as a form of defense came unstuck because it's the first time he's gone in with someone who can bang.
Yeah.
The only way I can really see him winning is getting past the 6th round because Zang hasn't got a gas tank.
For real.
But he's come in, for me, 10 pounds too heavy. I mean, 270s, I'd have been all right. I wouldn't have the thoughts that I'm having. But he needs to move for the first 4 to 5 rounds. And he doesn't really want to be in the pocket.
For real.
So if he gets past like the 6th round, by all means go in the pocket then and put it on him because Zang will have gassed. But he looks more like he's trying to blow Zang out of there, which I'm not sure Joe's got the power to do that.
I may say he's trying to get Zang out of there.
Well, I am not confident that when you come in that heavy, you're planning for 12 rounds. He needs to move his head, which it requires more energy expenditure than not moving his head. He needs to have decent feet, and his feet are normally actually quite good in terms of foot speed. But how is that going to be helped by the extra weight? Can't really see it. What?
The reason I think he's coming with the extra weight is just to be able to hold his own in the bulk department. Just the heavier weight means that he's heavier is heavier in the clinch. I think you want to be heavy in the clinch.
I'm not suggesting that he should have gone in at 250. If it was in the 270s, I'd be more confident about his chances, because I think he can still move at 270. But he just looks a bit sloppy. I mean, his face is double its normal size, isn't it? He looks really. He's got a beard on him. I don't. Well, we'll see. But if it was in the 270s and it was more quality mass, I think he'd do just as well in the clinches, personally. But
Larry Owens was getting in there with a big pot belly.
Larry was always like that, though, wasn't he?
No, initially.
Well, I mean, all right, not initially, but for a large part of his career, Larry's it's the yo-yoing. Because Zhang's not lean at all, but he's always comes in at around this sort of weight, doesn't he?
Well, I'll give my argument. I'll give my argument for him coming in with the weight. Why?
Yeah, go on.
I don't actually. I can't say I love 280. I can't say I love 20 stone.
Yeah, I like him at 271.
I would have been cool. I would have been cool with 19 stone. I'd have been cool with 19 stone. 20 stone seems like a lot of mass to be carrying around for 12 rounds. However, I think that he put on the extra weight just to be able to live with, maybe push Zang around. Maybe he's going to do some clinching. This time around, and he just needs the extra weight to push him around. Is it 10 pounds too much? It might be. It might be. It's very likely. Very likely it's 10 pounds too much. I'd have preferred him coming around at 270. Absolutely. But I understand why he put the extra weight on. 10 pounds too much, maybe. We're about to find out. But I do think I understand the rationale behind it. But is it 10 pounds too much? It might be 10 pounds too much. However, the argument for coming in heavier, I think he just hold his feet more. Maybe they want to do more clinching. Maybe they want to push Zang around more. Maybe they've worked on the grappling, the stand-up grappling, to help Zang exhaust his relatively small gas tank, help him exhaust it quicker. That's what I'm thinking. More clinching, obviously, got to be more head work, and more footwork, more doing what he needs to do as to fight a southpaw. He needs to get that when he's attacking. He needs to get that lead leg on the outside of Zhang's lead foot. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one without the weight gain, because last time around, Joyce just looked totally unprepared for a southpaw. Looked like he hadn't been even training for a southpaw. This time around, I think there's no doubt he must have been training for a southpaw. There is a school of thought that says, hey, you just fight orthodox or southpaw, it don't matter, you just fight them. I understand that school of thought, but me, I'm saying, why not give yourself some technical advantages by looking at the technical aspects of fighting a southpaw? That's what I say. But keys to victory, head movement. Keys to victory, more pressuring of Zang. Get him in some clinches, rough him up, hit him on the inside. Keys to victory, obviously, stepping to the left on the attacks. Keys to victory, more movement. Make Zang move more. minus the punching. Make him move more. And another key to victory is throw your backhand more. Southpaws, their backhand have happy. They're backhand happy. Therefore, they throw more backhands. The backhand is the power hand. So, as an orthodox fighter, I always say to an orthodox fighter, throw your backhand more, just like they do. Try to level the playing field. Both fighters are now in the ring. Chinese contingent in the red t-shirts are in the building. Okay, they paid some big money for ringside. Well, pretty close to the ringside. Okay.
There's a lot of rich Chinese in the UK. Right?
There are. They ain't hurting for money in general.
No, but I mean extremely rich.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. I don't mind.
Doncaster. Thomas McGregor comes from Doncaster. You know, I used to be quite close to a young lady from Doncaster. But I think I may have accidentally got her in trouble. You see, the Rafi is the pull-out king. And he's the pull-out king. And then after our relationship ended, she got with some other cat. And we unfortunately ended up moving. She ended up moving pretty much damn well next door to me. Back in the day, we're going back some time ago. Young boy Rafi, pull-out king. She was a young gal too. She'd come down from Doncaster, down these sides to work in a casino. She had some friends there. Uncle was some big shot casino guy. And she came down to work down these sides from Doncaster, saw the Rafi. Knees got weak. And, she became Rafi's girl. Anyway, Rafi being the pull-out king, that was my technique. That was my methodology. I think we split up 9 months later, and she hooked up with some other cat. And clearly, dude didn't know what he was doing. Boom, she got pregnant, moved back up to Doncaster, and it just crossed my mind the other day. Maybe I was responsible because of my proficiency.
You can't take responsibility for other people's complacency, right?
Well, she because she just left me. She got with this guy. She assumed
standard. It's not your fault.
She assumed he knew what he was doing just because of me. She assumed he knew what he was doing, and he didn't.
But it's not your fault. You can't be responsible for other people's incompetence, right?
Well, but still, I think I played a part inadvertently.
Well, I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Well, ultimately, you did your job.
I did my job, and he failed.
You did your job, and he failed.
He failed.
Yeah.
And we have started. It's on and popping. And let's do this. Okay, so Joyce moving to his left and using his jab. This guy's right hand high to parry. Remember I said the parry in the video. I forgot to mention it just now. Parrying and playing with the hands. That's what I said in the video. Playing with the hands. Hand play is very underrated in the modern game. Just hand play, disrupting the punches. Very underrated. But that's old school.
I'm a big fan of that. Sugar Ray Robinson was the best at that.
There we go. Probably the best boxer ever. And he did it. So what's anybody else's excuse? Joyce moving to his left. Busy jab. And a high right hand to defend against those lefts. At least partially block them. At least. Looking good so far in the first round, unlike the first time around. But yeah, I got some worries, concerns about the extra weight now since Joyce is going for a high output kind of style. We're halfway through the first round. Joyce is doing well so far. So far. Busy jab. And moving to his left.
You see, those are the tactics I actually wanted him to employ. And I'm very much worried he can do it at this weight for
12 rounds.
Yeah. But I don't think he needs to do it for 12 rounds. Once you get past about 7, you can probably start to play forward into it.
Yeah.
His gas tank would have gone. I definitely don't think you should be throwing a lot of backhands against Zhang Mo because Zhang was counter punching him to hell last time.
That's a good point. Leon Figures up in the building. The Joyce. Busy with the jab now. He's changing levels. Jab to the body. And another jab to the body. Changing levels. Joyce now. Less output with the jab. It's got the distancing. Zang on the outside. Round 1 to Joyce. Zang a lot less busy because Joyce is doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. I mean, these are the right tactics for me. You don't want to be in the pocket with Zhang. He can time you there. He's bigger than you, and that's where he wants you to be. If Zhang's got to go looking for you, then he's going to struggle.
Yeah. So, round 1. Zang, Joyce. 10-9 to Joyce. What's Leon Figures saying? Yes.
I think we need to say congratulations to Mr. Leon Figures.
Mr. Figures says waiting in the departure lounge with Mrs. Figures. Never mentioned it before. That's good to know. Waiting for our flight to Gatwick from our honeymoon. Oh, that's why you never mentioned.
Congratulations are in order. Yeah.
That's why you never mentioned the Mrs. Figures before, because there wasn't a Mrs. Figures, but there is now. OMG. I think we're gonna have to give you a honorary. That was the wedding bells. Unbelievable. That's awesome. I like to think that maybe I played some small part. I'd like to think
you were taking the blame for pregnancy before. Now you're looking for the credit for someone else's marriage.
I'll take the blame and I'll take the credit. I like to think I played some small part in bringing you together.
We're going to start calling you the love doctor soon, bro.
I don't know how. Maybe the love doctor. I don't know how, but maybe I just like to think it. I'd like to think it. That's awesome. That's fantastic news, Mr. Leon Figures. Fantastic news. The crowd cheered. What did I miss? Fantastic news. Excellente. Joyce looking very pensive, says the bronze plumber. That's not my analysis, my friend. He's looking kind of fluid. I don't want him to get too fluid though, but he's looking kind of fluid to me. He's moving to his left. He's observing the rules, the standard rules of the fighting a southpaw. Zang stepped on the outside there. Cleverly. Yo, move your foot. Oh, he got caught. It's going to be the same again, isn't it? He's not observed. He's forgot about what to do with his front foot. He's forgot about it. He's got caught. That's probably why the crowd roared in the first place. Oh, no. Oh, this don't look good. He's forgotten what he should be doing against the southpaw. I'm looking at his front foot. His face is readied. Maybe the bronze plumber was watching it closer than me and he was onto something. Maybe Joyce just forgets what to do against the southpaw. Maybe. Well, the crowd have roared two times, 2 or 3, in concern for Joyce. No head movement. The head movement stopped. Don't tell me this is going to be the same again. Don't tell me this is going to be the same again. Zang pulled down Joyce's head. There's 30 seconds of the second round remaining. And Joyce is forgetting to move to the left. Move to your left, man. Okay, there you go. Move to the left there. Move again, though. Don't stand in front of him. Another big one straight. Oh, my God. Joyce ain't going to win this fight. He's going to get stopped quicker than the last time. This is horrible. He's forgetting what to do, and now he's moving to his right. Now he's moving to his right. Oh, my gosh. It ain't even about the weight. It's just about doing the wrong thing. Moving to his right now. That was the second round, and that goes to Zang to me. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh. Where are we?
Do you think that initial punch has scrambled his brain, man? Because, I mean, for me, the first round was, like, tactically perfect.
Yeah.
And he's got caught because Zhang is a crafty operator. People don't recognise his skill level. Because it's subtle stuff in the pocket, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And he's countered him, and then he's just fallen apart, hasn't he? He's forgot all the tactics after the first bang, and yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because he hasn't got the hand speed to be throwing the backhand at Zhang while Zhang's got his gas tank.
Yeah.
If he sticks to his jab, he's actually got a good jab and he wants to use it. And he was doing it correctly in the first round for me.
Yeah, he was using it well. So what's he going to do now? So it's come out in the third round. It's one round apiece. Now, have they reminded Joyce what to do? Move to your left. Oh, what the hell's going on?
You've connected your phone.
I want to do that.
You might need to get money with it.
Okay. Yeah, I just need to mute. I'm muted now, but Zang. Okay, Joyce needs to remember to move to his left. Okay, Joyce is throwing back now. Missed the first minute of this round. Trying to get the connectivity. Oh, big, nice left from Zang. Oh, big left from Zang. Oh my God. Zang unloads on Joyce, and Joyce is too much in front of him. Joyce has got a bloody mouth. Oh, Lord. Oh, straight left now. Now Joyce is circling to his right. Joyce is circling to his right. And he's getting painted with the jab. This ain't looking good, folks. This ain't looking good. .35 seconds. Zang with a 1-2 there. Joyce comes up with a 1-2. One to the head, one to the belly. Zang comes back with a 1-2. Joyce comes back with a double jab and another. Oh my God! Knocked down and maybe knocked out. Looks like he's out. Waved off. Waved off. Waved off. OMG. OMG.
Well, you don't want to be in the pocket with him, do you, really?
Ah.
He managed to last a round with the right tactics, and then he reverted to type the first time he got touched.
Reverted to type. Came out with the right tactics in the first round. Reverted to type in the second. Just couldn't stick with the game plan. It's incredible. Just no good. No good with the southpaws.
I mean, for me, right, I still think the weight was counterproductive because for you to make good decisions, you need to be fit. You need to be aerobically fit. Because if
Well,
you're
you were aerobically fit the first time and you didn't make good decisions.
Well, no, I agree with that. But then I think he had his head gassed up that he was indestructible. But it's easy to look indestructible against smaller opponents that don't punch, which is what he's been in with. I mean, this is the first time he's been in with a genuine puncher, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
He's believing in his granite chin and all the rest of it. But as soon as he gets in with someone bigger than him, it becomes a problem. And he didn't know how to adjust to it.
OMG. I like the first round from Joyce, so did I. Congratulations.
That was what he's been doing for 6 rounds. If he'd have done that for 6 rounds, he stood a decent chance of drowning.
That's what he needed to do. Congratulations to the Leon figures. Move your bloody head. And it's kind of crazy to think that this was a voluntary. It's crazy to think that this was a voluntary.
Be interesting to see him fight Usyk. He's a Mando.
Zang?
Yeah.
Zang?
Zang's a Mando.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Because how often has Usyk faced a southpaw?
Not very often. It's over. It's over. Massive shot. Wow. Where does JJ, Triple J, is it Triple J or is it 2 J's? The Juggernaut is Triple J. Where does he go from here? Well, he stays away from southpaws for the rest of his entire bloody life. And that means down the pub as well.
I don't know. I think in most pubs, there aren't going to be many people who can do much to Joe Raff. I mean, he is a mountain of a man.
He's a mountain.
The unfortunate thing for him is he's actually come up against somebody who's bigger. Because I think Zhang's taller as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He's just an all-round bigger person.
The bigger guy.
And the bully's been out-bullied. But unfortunately for Joe, Zhang's actually got more skill.
Whew. It's a weird thing to contemplate. Yang's got more skill. The Chinaman, we don't associate China with producing big, skillful, heavyweight boxers. We don't associate them with boxers at all. But here we go. Here we got a guy who's a top. He's up there as a top, and he just beat a guy who was tipped for the top. Beat him 2 times. Stopped him the first time and knocked him the.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think
the second time
he's been badly brought along, Joe Joyce, because he's gone from fighting fairly not particularly good opposition. I mean, beating Daniel Dubois looks great on paper, but what has Daniel ever done? I mean, Daniel's another one that's consistently been put in there with men who are a lot smaller than him. And even then, those guys are actually hurting him and putting him down. Well, the only time Dubois has actually been in there with anyone bigger than him was when he fought Joe.
Well, it's very unfortunate. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this at all.
I was pretty concerned about the weight. I said it to you after the weigh-in, didn't I?
Well, Joe Joyce is still sitting down on his stool. He's just been knocked out for the first time. The Iron Kong. Joe Joyce has been knocked out.
I picked Joyce. I picked Joyce for fifth round stoppage.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very disappointed in what I saw. If you're gonna come in so heavy, I'm thinking you're coming to do damage, and you still apparently didn't learn to move your head.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how that gonna benefit you. Joe Joyce, listen to these idiots. Oh, all Joyce got to do is walk through punches. He's the juggernaut. Nobody, he can eat punches. And I think Joe might have done his chin.
Yeah.
People underrate when he fought Joseph Parker. Even though he beat Joseph Parker decisively, he took a lot of big shots from Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
That fight again, Joseph Parker hit him with some big, big right hands. And people don't get that that those things take a toll on you.
Yeah.
And he met somebody who has a lot of power. Again, Zhang didn't do anything that was super, super technical. He just did his job. And Joe, he kept his hand in his pockets too long to me.
Yeah.
He just kept his hand. I guess the right hand was to protect his eye, but he just kept his hand in his pockets too long. If you're coming in that heavy, you're coming in to do damage. I really thought the man was coming to do something dangerous. And he just, come on, Joe. You're the
Do,
hero.
you know what I think, Kong? Looking at Joe, I don't think that weight gain is as intentional as they're making it out to be.
You believe he was
After,
out of shape?
yeah, because if you remember after COVID and the lockdown, Joe's first fight, he was pretty fat. And I think Joe likes his food, and I just think he's eating too much food.
No,
And
I
they
don't think that. I don't
out.
think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. He just lost. He just.
I've seen him get fat before.
I've seen him get lost fat before, but he's just lost the fight to Zang. I don't think there's any way that he's going to come in lackadaisical for the rematch. He's just been stopped for the first time in his professional career. I don't think there's no way he's coming in lackadaisical for the rematch.
Well, it's either that or they've got it wrong in the way that they put the weight on. Because it looked like his plan was to actually jab and move. And then
Yeah.
after the first round, he's gone to pieces because he's carrying too much weight. He's put on 30 pounds in what amount of time?
It's about
25 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put quality mass on in that amount of time.
Mm.
And it's a yo-yoing effect does not make you stronger at all.
Mm. I don't know if weight was a factor. I don't know if weight was a factor in this fight. I think what was a factor was just Joe apparently couldn't stick to the game plan. Couldn't stick to the game plan. He came out with the game plan, a good game plan in the first round, was moving to his left. He's keeping his front foot outside of Zhang's front foot. And then he came out in the second round, he started moving to his right. I think that Joe Joyce just has a mental block with southpaws. You can't fight him. You can't fight him. He's fought him 2 times. The first time he gets stopped in the 6th round, and the technical stoppage. And the second time he gets blasted out, put down. You just can't fight southpaws.
Well, I think there's a definite element to that. I completely agree with it. I think there's more to it than that, though.
There could be
Because
more to that.
people underrate the subtle things that Zhang does in there. He's got very good. He's a very crafty counter puncher, and those are the punches that will really mess you up because you're not going to brace for him, are you?
Mm.
You're not going to see him come in. You can obviously understand and time Joe and counter punch Joe effectively so that he can catch him with punches he can't ready himself for and brace for. So that's quite an important skill that might not look flashy. It might not be what a lot of people equate with skill. But if you want to knock someone out in a skillful way, that's how you do it, isn't it? You catch them with something that they're not prepared for.
Zhang is definitely a quality boxer. But another quality boxer should be able to look. He gave Hrgovic all kinds of trouble, but Hrgovic was able to readjust. He says, okay, I got to stay away from this guy. I got to pick him off. I got to fight him at range. And Hrgovic was able to do that.
Hergovich has got
Unfortunately, Joe Joyce is not the level of boxer that could do what Hergovic did, which was adjust and keep it at range, move in the proper direction. He understood that Zhang was the heavier puncher, the bigger, stronger man. So he adjusted and he adapted, kept it at range. Little jabs, get out of the way. Jab, get out of the way. Turn it into a points fight. And he won. Unfortunately, there is a skill deficit with Joe Joyce when it comes to fighting the Southpaws. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. But let Kong have a say.
No, I agree. I mean, I when people were up and down these idiot fans, oh, Joe Joyce would beat everybody. He would just. I remember when people say, oh, he would, if he fights Wilder, he'll take Wilder's right hand, no problem. I'm like, hey. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all don't understand that there's no such thing as an indestructible chin. All right, let's stop. Okay. Joe Joyce came in, like Rafi said. He came in obviously with a certain game plan, but ultimately some people revert to type.
Yeah.
I thought the man would have come in lighter, or as light as was the first fight, to keep his stamina up to drag Zhang down into the later rounds. He didn't. He came in heavier. So I said, well, okay, it looks like Joyce is saying, no, I'm going to land some bombs on this man.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Joyce stayed there and he just reverted to type, kept his head mostly, stationary. The weight slowed him down. And I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed. But as Rafi said, Joyce is simply not the level of boxer as certain other people. And that again showed because, again, Zhang didn't do anything that was different to the first fight. He didn't do anything different to any other time he's fought anybody else. Jerry Forrest almost gave Zhang a heart attack.
Yeah, I was watching that fight. Yeah.
Jerry Forrest.
Yeah. I thought Jerry Forrest won that fight.
And Zhang has now brutalized Joe Joyce. Knocked him out in what? What was this? 2 rounds? 3 rounds?
3 rounds.
3 rounds. What a terrible thing.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, reverted to type is exactly what we said in the second round. I completely agree with what you're saying. And I agree with your whole assessment, to be honest with you, Kong. And Rafi's, in that the way to beat Zhang is to stay away from him and not be in the pocket, be mobile, because he's not got fast feet. He's a stationary counter puncher with heavy hands. And if you jab and move like Joe actually did in the first round, he hasn't really got an answer to it. And he's gonna gas. He will gas.
Yeah.
So thinking that you should take the fight to Zhang is just not something you should do. If anything, you want to try and time him. You want to try and counterpunch him, because we've seen that Zhang can be put down. He's not indestructible either. He's been put down in the amateurs for definite. I'm not sure. Has he been put down in the pros?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hergovich definitely hurt him. They both hurt each other in that fight. He's not indestructible. But like you said,
he might have been put down by Jerry Forrest. I can't remember, but I felt that Jerry Forrest wasn't beaten.
Well, Joshua put him down in the what was it? The silver medal or bronze medal fight. And that's with big gloves and a head guard. So I mean, he's not indestructible. Well, your point about Hergovich has actually got a really deep amateur career. Whilst Joe's done well in the amateurs, he hasn't actually got a very extensive amateur career.
Yeah.
So Hergovich was able to make adjustments, realise that he's not got the firepower to just blast this guy out. So he did exactly the right thing, which is what Joe should have done. And it's why I've been so concerned about the weight, because I just thought you want to stay away from him for 6-7 rounds, and drown him, and maybe try and take him out in the later rounds, like round 10 or something, because he gets it. So going in heavy, that's just making that game plan harder. And I'm genuinely not sure that Joe's head was on it in this situation, Raf. Because of the way, I'm not convinced it's as intentional as they're saying, particularly the way he came out in the first round. Because if you've been training to be on your jab, then why are you heavy? The training itself should have kept the weight off you. Because you would have been moving.
Oh my God. That was a peach. That was a peach of a shot. Where is it? Oh my God. That was the right.
His timing's exemplary, isn't it?
That was the right. That wasn't the left.
Did he get him with the right? Lead right.
It was the right.
It's not good for Frank Warren's fighters, is it? We get him finished with jabs.
My God.
Was it a hook, right?
It was yeah. It was a right hook. It was a right hook. Good Lord. Well, I am disappointed. I'm not going to pretend I'm not disappointed. I was hoping that Joe Joyce would right the wrongs, correct his mistakes, but he just don't seem to have it with the southpaws. The skill level is a factor. We've seen other people give Zhang fits. Lower level fighter in the form of Jerry Forrest. I had Jerry Forrest winning that fight. So in no way, shape or form is Zhang unbeatable. It's just that Joe Joyce just don't got it against the southpaw. He just don't got it against the southpaw. It's crazy. It's hard to comprehend. It's hard to understand. He's a professional. And there's something else I want to say. I think as a professional, you should be in there with everybody. I think if you're a professional heavyweight boxer, you should be in there with everybody. You should have some middleweights in there. Just obviously you're just going at quarter power, but you should be getting different looks from everybody. That's why southpaw, orthodox, you should have everybody in there. So that's why these specialized camps in days of yore, in the previous times in boxing, you didn't have specialized camps. You just sparred with whoever you could spar with. You didn't say, okay, I'm Jack Johnson and I'm going to be fighting Gene Tunney or whoever. So I got to get Gene Tunney like guys. You just whoever's in the gym is whoever's in the gym. And you move, if they're smaller than you just move around. You just do some moving around. They can hit you. You're just going to parry or whatever. And you're going to pull your punches short. But you're in there with everybody. And so this thing that you can't fight southpaws or this guy's too tall and then this guy's too short, to me, it's ridiculous. Because in the olden days, you just sparred who was there. Whatever the weight, whatever the style, you just sparred who was there. And I think that breeds more complete fighters. This over-specialization. Oh, I'm fighting a tall guy taller than me, so I should only box a guy's taller than me. Or I'm fighting a guy shorter than me, so I should only be sparring with guys shorter than me. I disagree with it. I think it's over-specialized. You should be getting different looks from different people. Southpaw, orthodox, fast, slow, tall, short. You should be in there with everybody. And so to tell me that the guy can't fight the southpaw, I kind of understand it to an extent. But on the other hand, no. You should be sparring everybody. You should be complete. And unfortunately, it's become very clear Joe Joyce is... we knew he was incomplete because he didn't move his head enough. But, he thought he could get along with it for a while. But up against the southpaw, there was just too many things going against him. He doesn't move his head. And then after the first round, he started moving into Zhang's power hand instead of moving away from the power hand. Those are basic fundamentals. And if Joe Joyce can't get the basic fundamentals right against the southpaw, then it's just sad. And I am sad. I was hoping he'd go further. I was hoping he'd go further. And then you have to question his team. Why the hell did they put him in against the southpaw? if he's so bad against the southpaw? Or is it that they never seen him against the southpaw, so they didn't know that he was so bad against the southpaw? In which case, it comes back to my argument. Iron Kong comes back to my argument. You should be sparring everybody.
Rafi,
That's what I'm saying.
after the first fight, I think you had what's the gentleman name, man? The Ali Bashir. I think he came through on your chat. I think
Mr. Bashir, yeah.
And you know, he was saying pretty much like, you know, he was very critical of Jojo. I would be interested to hear his comments after this, because this was a complete destruction. It almost looks like Joe is like, you can't be Rafi, a man who spent that long in the amateurs, fighting so long, and you look like there's one thing in not liking to fight southpaws. Nobody really does, apparently. Only a few people say they like to fight southpaws. There's a difference when you don't like to fight them to when you're completely inept. You're not fighting like a super tricky, super slick southpaw. You know what I'm saying? You're not fighting him. So, you know, Joe just seems to be a guy who just, I don't know, he just struggles, man. He just struggles with people like this. We saw him struggle with Bryant Jennings. He was able to bully somebody like Joseph Parker, who pretty much has lost the fighting spirit. But he took some huge shots from Joseph Parker. And people were like, oh, look at how Joe just walked through that, the commentators and all this. You know, imagine if Joe had to fight somebody like Chris Bud. Smaller heavyweight, really crafty. You know what I mean? Southpaw. I think Chris Bud was a southpaw. I think so. He will be in a lot of trouble. He's fighting Zang, who's stationary, literally standing in front of him, Rafi. In front of him. Zang himself don't have no super head movement.
No.
He don't have no head movement like that. He's there to be hit. Joyce hands was in his pocket tonight. I really thought the extra weight was for a purpose. I'm not sure what it was for. I saw some interviewer who's obviously a Joe Joyce fan, one of these YouTube interviews, like, oh, you know, you put on the extra weight. That means you're going to be able to take more punches. I'm like, what? That means, you'll be able to handle his heavy punches more. I'm like, how about you tell him to move? Just move your head, brother. I don't know, Rafi. Rafi, I don't know. I need somebody to tell me what the problem is.
Well, for me, I'm considering the option that actually he's been a bit depressed following on from the loss, and that he's eaten himself out of a victory here. Well, competitive fight. I think the skill gap is obvious, and it's been exposed before. I mean, Parker outskilled him, and he bullied the smaller man. And whilst he took shots from Parker's not a big puncher, is he? I mean, let's be honest about it. He just got hit very, very, very clean, which I'm not disputing that can have an effect. But this is the first big puncher we've seen Joe in with, and he's got demolished. The skill gap is horrific in terms of, if you go back to the Bryant Jennings fight, the skill gap was there to be seen then. If you watch the Parker fight, the skill gap was also there to be seen. But this is the first time he's come up against somebody who's bigger and stronger and hits harder than him. And he's just unraveled completely. It's actually a fight that's completely lived up to Mike Tyson saying everyone's got a plan until they get punched. Because that's exactly what happened. He was following the plan. The first time he gets tagged, he unravels. Everything goes out the window. I don't see how putting weight on can be conducive to the correct game plan to fight Zhang. Because Zhang was timing him every time he threw his backhand last time. And Joe was actually, the most success he's had was with the jab. And that's what he should have been employing in this fight. Because Zhang has not got good footwork in terms of the ability to move fast. He can get into position in a crafty way. It's not like he works bad. but he hasn't got fast feet. So Joe's footwork is actually pretty good from a foot speed point of view. But I'm not convinced his heart was in this. Because you can't tell me that anything other than the game plan was to jab and move, because that's what he was doing from the outset. I think that was the game plan. I think Joe's coming too fat to employ it. As for what you're saying about fighting everybody, Raf, in sparring, I think it's more than that. Fighters these days are too inactive to be well-rounded fighters. I mean, how many fights has Joe had over the last 3 years? Because when you're talking about the guys that used to fight everybody, they also used to fight every month, 6 weeks, 2 months. And they would have fought every style on the come up. Maybe not the high level version of it, but they would have been exposed to all different styles.
Yeah.
And the reason they're having all these specialist camps is because, and we're always hearing everybody's learning on the job. The reason they're learning on the job is they haven't had enough fights.
Mm.
And fighting once or twice a year is not good enough. I think it's why the PBC fighters keep coming on the stuff every time they leave the PBC, because they're so inactive.
They're so inactive. But I don't think it's just the fights. I think it's the sparring.
I agree with the sparring, but I'm taking it a step further and saying they're also too inactive.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
When you had all that activity, you wouldn't worry about tailoring your sparring to a particular opponent. Because
Exactly.
you've only fought 3 or 4 times this year. So sparring. It wouldn't matter who you were sparring, because you're always in the ring, you're always sharp.
Exactly.
So you could spar middleweights, you could spar southpaws, even if you were fighting a big heavyweight, because you'd have fought another big heavyweight 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. So it wouldn't matter. You'd be all round sharp. So all types of sparring would be beneficial.
There. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Bronze Plumber. If Fury takes on Joyce coming off the back of a KO, 2 KOs, I don't think even he would have the audacity. Nah, don't think so. You never know. Give Zang his title shot. Why not? Why not? Let's see him in there against Usyk. I'd watch. I'm shocked you think Fury's audacity has a limit. I want to see Zhang Bang versus Wilder. Yo, that would be nice. Joyce looked fat to my. I hear the argument, but I don't think that Joyce could have made such a faux pas at such a crucial fight. I just don't see it.
Let me ask you something, Rafi and John.
Yeah.
Do you think Joyce took this fight out of, because he wants to please the public opinion? Or do you think he took this fight thinking, oh, the first one was a fluke? Or he took this fight basically saying, why, the people gonna judge me, so let me just take the fight?
Well, no, I mean, I think that he expected to win. I don't think as a professional at that level, you take a fight not expecting to win. I think you're going to do everything in your power to win that fight, to get back to what he's lost. I don't see how he could have taken a fight of this magnitude lightly. I just don't see it. I think he went in there. They obviously trained for it. We saw what he did in the first round, and then he just reverted to type. The man just reverted to type. Seems like he's got one way of fighting, and that's it. And it's worked for him up until now. It's worked until it didn't work. And, that's the way I see it. John?
I've got a very different take on it.
Yeah.
I think Joe might have been a bit depressed following that defeat. And that's why he's come in the way he has come in at. I think that's why he's come in looking the way that he's looked. And I'm also
Have you met his mother?
yeah, but I haven't met his mother, but I've
You
certainly
know his mother. She's one hell of a motivator.
Yeah, but Rafi, we don't know what he's been going through after that unexpected defeat, because it was unexpected. People did not really expect him to lose to Zhang. They particularly didn't expect him to lose in the fashion that he did. And we haven't seen him lose in the professional ranks. We don't know the effect that would have had on him, on his self-esteem, on everything. We don't know these people. We see a public persona. They're human beings. Irrespective of the support network that you have, people can get into not the best mental place after a huge setback like the one that he suffered. I'm questioning it because of the weight and the condition that he's coming and the performance I've seen.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm also questioning how much pressure he's had from Frank Warren, because now that Zhang's fulfilled the rematch, has Frank still got options on Zhang, or is Zhang free of his obligations to Frank?
I don't know.
Because if Zhang is free now, then there would have been pressure from Warren to get the win back, so they've got their mandatory status back. I mean, it was also not particularly good matchmaking when you think about it.
Well, that's what I said. He was a voluntary. So his trainers, I would imagine his trainer Salash had a say in the. I would imagine he got run past Salash first, and Salash obviously gave it the okay, I presume. But how could Salash give it the okay if he knew that Joe Joyce was so terrible against Southpaws?
Well, my big thing is, Joe's always been Frank's ginger-headed stepchild, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think that any of this has really been planned out in Joe's best interest, to be honest. I think it's poor matchmaking from Queensbury. Their matchmaking hasn't been particularly good throughout. I mean, we've seen the way that Dubois unravelled over these last few fights. Because, I mean, the Kevin Lorraine fight, he was very lucky to get through with a victory.
Yeah.
For me, very, very lucky. And then exactly pretty much the same things happened with him in the following fight. He's unravelled again. I don't think they're being prepared very well with the matchmaking over there. And I don't think that Frank has really got Joe's best interests at heart. I mean, the fact that Daniel was still pushed as the favoured fighter after losing to Joe, got his world title opportunity before Joe, and now Joe probably will never fight for a world title, even though he beat Daniel. I'm very sceptical that Joe didn't come under a lot of pressure from Queensbury to take this rematch because they wanted to retain the mandatory spot. And if Zhang is now free of any, I mean, Frank might have him completely wrapped up. I mean, I don't know. But if Zhang is free, then he would have been under a lot of pressure from Frank to actually get that Mando status back, because now the only way Frank can do a world heavyweight title fight is with Tyson Fury, who doesn't seem to be particularly interested in having him.
Well, seems to me that my opinion is that Joe Joyce should never have been in there with a southpaw. He can't fight a southpaw. It's painfully obvious. He did worse the second time than he did the first time. And it's a blow. It's a big blow. He got knocked out. Knocked out in the third round. Now, okay, guys like Weaver, guys like Dokes, all of them cats from back in the day, 70s, the 80s. Most of those guys got put on their ass. Some of them got knocked out. I think Weaver was a notoriously slow starter and came back to be champion. But the difference with this era, as we've discussed, is that the guys just don't fight enough. They don't fight everybody. So you get a guy at Joyce's level, and he hasn't fought everybody. He hasn't fought all the different styles. You're supposed to be sparring everybody and fighting more often. And Joyce has just come up short. Can't do it. Can't do it against the Southpaw. He's got issues with orthodox fighters, but against the Southpaws, they're just magnified 10 times over. And so it's a shame. I'm disappointed. I was hoping for better for Joyce, but all the defensive frailties came to the fore. And so, what can I say? I think we've chopped it up. I think we've chopped it up in just over an hour. Just over an hour. The Iron Kong, your final words, please.
Yeah, Joyce, you know, you came in here, fake me out, thinking you coming in heavy because you coming with the real smoke. You know what I mean? You came in with a game plan that should have been for a lighter body. And you came in here on burger energy. And I don't know what your problem is. I've been telling people for a long time, stop hyping you up. Stop it. Stop. Oh, Joyce will beat everybody. You just walk through the punches. You just walk through the punches, yeah? Just you know what I'm saying, mate? Old Joe just walk through the punches, yeah? All this nonsense. I told people, wasn't it John who said, because people were saying like, oh, you know, you just knock out Anthony Joshua. I was like, John who said Joshua like beat up Joyce pretty badly in the amateurs. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what y'all talking about? What y'all watching? Joe Joyce once again gets outclassed by a man who's not doing anything special, who's standing in front of him. And Rafi, can I ask you a question? Did Joe Joyce wilt under the pressure once he starts feeling Zhang's power? Did he quit in his head?
I think he was just getting hit. You know, at the end, and he didn't have an answer. He was getting hit and he couldn't get out of the way. He didn't know how to get out of the way. So if you're getting hit and you don't know how to get out of the way, well, I think the ultimate question is, was that finishing shot a legitimate punch? And I say yes. But it's a good argument that you made. Did Joyce wilt? That's a damn good question. I personally think that he just didn't know. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to get out of the way. And then he got hit by a legitimate left-right hook that it was a legitimate shot. And he couldn't get out of the way. I think Joe Joyce could not get out of the way, but it's a legitimate question. Did he?
That's it for me.
Hey, that was the Iron Kong 26. And our man from the Caribbean. And then we have the man from the dogfighting. The dogfighting capital. What do you think of the XL Bully ban, John? I know you're probably gonna have to change your
No, I'm all right. I stick with the Birmingham breed English Bull Terrier.
Say that again.
I stick with the Birmingham breed of dog, which is the English Bull Terrier.
Yes. I would agree.
In my final words are going to be in answer to the question posed by our friend Iron Kong.
Yeah.
I think he did wilt, but in a different way.
Okay.
I think he went to pieces once he got hit with a punch that he knew rocked him, and he didn't know what to do. So it was exactly as Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Damn.
Those are my final words, Raf. Well, thanks for
Time. And that was the John D. Lee. Thank you, John. Very kind of you to jump on alongside our man in the Caribbean, the Iron Kong 26. He got his own channel. Check him out. I am disappointed. Let's give a shout out to some people we ain't acknowledged yet. Gotta go, says the Thomas McGregor. Good to have you up in here, Thomas. You know it's the place to be for these fight shows. Hands down. No question about it. Joe was a deer in the headlights. Dime. It's the Lethal Bizzle up in the building. It's the J Bus America. J Bus America. I don't know what that means. Joyce will never be a world champion. Well, don't look good. It certainly don't look good. Joe was flicking the jab instead of ramming it home. Should have rammed it home. That's the Rafi's philosophy. Ram it home, mate. Ram it home. You know what I mean? Don't play with it. Don't use it as a tickle stick. The fuzzy up in the building. Frank never forgave the juggernaut Joe Joyce for beating Triple D. OMG. 18 months back, Frank had a good heavyweight stable. Now it's in tatters. He needs to focus on the Misfits events. Hey, it was the same guys. It's the same guys now that he had 18 months ago. It's the same guys. So how did that work? How do that work? Rafi chops it up almost as fast as Zang Bang chopped up Slow Joe. I don't know. What am I chopping up? Onions? Or am I chopping up pickled onions? Joe Joyce wilted before the first bell rang. Looked scared from the off. Really? I didn't notice that. I'll have to watch it back. Congrats on both fighters for convincing me to consume multiple G and T's in the build-up. Damn. Maybe Rafi should have a brandy. Maybe Rafi should have a brandy with his post-bed cigar. What do you reckon to that? What do you reckon to that? Two of the three have been totally demolished. Frank only has Luke Fury left. OMG. OMG. Okay, disappointing night. We was hoping for redemption for Joe Joyce. But apart from the first round, he never really seemed at the races. The Rafi is disappointed. But there you go. Beldiv DeVoe. Okay. So, of course, we're going to chop this up in the live show. Monday or Tuesday night. But I must say I am disappointed. I was hoping for more from Joe, but it was not to be. Joe Joyce gets knocked out by Zilly Zang Bang in the third round by a right hook. Wasn't even the left. It was a right hook. OMG. So that's about it. It's before midnight. It's an early one for us. It's not an American show. It's over here in the UK. It was in Wembley. But that's it for now. Catch you in a video or the live show. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it's the hitting the bell icon in order to stay updated with news and notifications. So don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And we are out. Blessed.